Did you know that you can copy data validation from one cell to another? If I want to be able to look up 3 different products or 4 different products at the same time, instead of doing the data validation again, all I have to do is copy down. And look what happens when I click in this cell, that data validation copied right along with it. Now, I'm going to copy down these 2 cells as well. And because I referred to a named range, when I look at how these are working, they're going to work well. If I had referred to a relative cell reference for products and then copied down, it would start looking lower and lower and lower and it wouldn't work. But because I named my range for this data table products, it will always be able to copy and not change that relative reference. The column stays true, it stays false, so this actually works beautifully just to copy down. Well, if the person who wanted me to look up some things decided that they were only going to order the first product here, and I only looked up one product, now I've got some errors on my page. There's really nothing wrong with it. I haven't selected a product and my formulas are correct. So I've got these ugly errors showing up on my page, even though in a way I don't really deserve to. There's nothing wrong with my page. It's just that I didn't choose something yet. The minute you choose something, it works beautifully. Okay, so what's the solution for that? I don't want these showing up, but I need to have those formulas there and to have them operational. Well, the answer is to add something to the formula called an if-error statement. When you do an if-error statement, since this formula is copied into all these cells and all these cells, what you want to do is go to the top formula in the column and you want to add an if-error, and to do that you go right between the equal sign and the formula that you had in there. What I always tell students is put in your formula, especially if it's complex like a lookup or something, then add the if error. So now I know that if something goes wrong, it wasn't my original formula, it's the if error. Okay, so you go right between the equal sign and your formula, you start typing if error, and notice that it pops up as a blue choice. Pressing tab locks it in. So that's half of how to make an if error work. If errors have 2 arguments. The first is if there's an error in the value, well, the value is what's inside here. So you really only have to add 1 argument. That means I go to the end, put in a comma, and say I'm ready for the next argument. And what is the value if there's an error? And for this, I don't want anything to show up in the cell, so I just type quote, quote, close my parentheses and press enter. Now, it looks fine here because I've actually got something chosen, but let's see what happens when I copy that down. Look at that. I've still got my formulas in there, but because there would have been an error, it's going to just do quote, quote, and it won't show anything in the cell. Much tidier looking. I'll do the same thing in this column. You go to the top cell in the column where you want the if error to be added. You go right between the equal sign and the formula. You type in if error. You go to the end of your formula, put in the last argument, comma, quote, quote, close the parentheses and press enter. Now I'm going to copy that down, and suddenly my errors are eliminated. So now I could choose something here and it fills in nicely, but if I don't choose something, I'm not going to have a nasty error message showing on my spreadsheet.